All righty, let's get started here. First of all, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the webinar today. We're joined with OptConnect. We got TJ and Phil on the line. So welcome. Thank you guys for being here. Real quick, I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen if I can figure that out, and share a little bit about Supplied Energy before handing it over to OptConnect. So you guys can see my screen all right?
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. You got my slides up, not my chat. Awesome. Cool. So yeah, again, we're Supplied Energy. Name's so nice, we got to say it twice. And again, we're joined by TJ and Phil over at OptConnect. My name is Harrison Buck. I do outbound sales for Supplied Energy. Just want to share a little bit about us. These are some of the faces of Supplied Energy. We're located in Austin, Texas, Catoosa, Oklahoma, Greenville, Illinois, which are HQ, and Noonan, Georgia. So that's Atlanta metro area, and then Tulsa metro area in Oklahoma. And our HQ is just about 45 minutes east of St. Louis. So we've got several brick and mortar locations, and these are some of the faces you would see if you came by and said hello. So who we are is we're a distributor at the end of the day, but we like to say we offer more solutions-based services than most. We like to be involved on the front end of things to provide the solutions to our installer and contractor customers, so they can then turn around and provide the best and most efficient solutions for their end user customers. These are some of the services we offer. We do development energy planning on the front end of things to provide solutions for the home up front. We offer retail sales, free design services, on the roof training, and we also do piping fabrication and geothermal feasibility studies on the heating and cooling side of our business. We serve and sell to installers, contractors, developers, loopers and drillers on the geothermal side, home and building owners, the utility, builders, and architects and engineers. That's just a short list of who we sell to and who we like to work with. These are our products of our categories of our products rather. Today we're going to be in the energy monitoring and load management section. We do HVAC, heating and cooling, both air source and ground source, that being geothermal. We sell VRFs and mini splits. Power products, that being solar, storage. We do inverters and the whole nine there. We also provide water heating and piping fabrication services and products. So a little bit about how that all ties together. We believe in this 4-step process that we've created. Step 1 being tightening the envelope by things like insulation, spray foam, good windows, tight doors, really sealing in the home as an envelope. We then reduce loads on the heating and cooling side, which accounts for the majority of your electrical consumption, by installing a heat pump, so an electric sourced HVAC. And then with that, we generate our own power with solar and store that power for use at a later time with batteries. And so all of that is sort of managed and controlled by the energy monitoring and load management section of our company. And that's where we're going to be talking a little bit about today with OptConnect. And we're really excited about their product. So it'll be a good introduction today. This is an image of what we're trying to accomplish as a company at Supplied Energy. So this is an example of a net zero home where we have a very tight envelope. We have installed an electric source heat pump. There's solar on the roof, and there's a battery storing that solar for use at a later time. And then all of this can be controlled by use of load management products such as OptConnect. And a little bit why we chose them is that they are very plug and play, very dependable, and they just remove some of the complexities of typical deployments, and really aids in being it easier to deploy these Wi-Fi or communicating softwares and products. So they're just really dependable, and we're really excited to have them on board. So if you guys got questions throughout the webinar today, just go ahead and throw them in the chat. We'll try to answer them as they come up. And if that doesn't work, we'll answer them at the end. And just so everyone knows, this will be recorded and sent out after. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to OptConnect. So I'll stop sharing my screen and hand it over to you, TJ. Thank you.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, Harrison. Let me see if I can figure out how to share my screen here really quick. So bear with me. All right. See my screen okay there?
Yep.
Okay, just the presentation, right? Just the slide?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining the call today. I'm super excited to be here and happy to be presenting to you, talking a little bit about OptConnect and what it is that we do. As Harrison had mentioned, I am Director of Channel Sales here at OptConnect. I work with finding, vetting, engaging in partnership with market leaders across various industries. So what we offer is fairly generic in a sense that that our model broadly applies to a lot of different pieces of hardware, different pieces of equipment, but it's customized to each market that we support. So towards the beginning stage of this year, Supplied Energy and OptConnect formalized a partnership, and really we've been kicking it off ever since. So super happy to be here, happy to be partnered with Supplied Energy. A little bit about me. I've been with OptConnect for 16 years. So I've had plenty of time to know and understand the business. Some joke that I've been around since I was 12 years old, but I think the lack of hair would prove otherwise. I'm a little older than that. So yeah, I've kind of grown through this business ever since we were, very small, deploying wireless cellular devices into ATMs and then POS stations, and quickly expanded that out into a lot of different markets and areas. And so today, what I wanted to share with you is just a little bit about OptConnect, what we do, why it's important, and maybe a little bit about why or how it can help you with your solar installations and with the day-to-day management of your equipment. So to kick it off, brief intro to the company. At OptConnect, we connect things to the internet. That's what IoT stands for. It's the Internet of Things. And so you think of things, I mean, what is that, right? It's not a consumer device. It's not your cell phone necessarily. It's, more or less, it's going to be other different types of hardware equipment. So digital signage is a market that we connect, right? Irrigation control boxes, solar inverters, kiosks, anywhere from water treatment facilities to, anything in the clean energy market, EV charging stations. We operate over 4 different verticals: industrial, retail, financial, and energy, and with 32 different sub verticals within those markets. And so, there's just a lot of different equipment that we're able to connect. And with that being said, we have over 1 million connections in the field that are fully managed by us. So we've been doing this for a long time. Got a lot of pieces of equipment in the field that are actually connecting using our cellular routers that we manage, that we take care of all of the ins and outs, all of the complexities of deploying a cellular portfolio. We handle it all. So again, our purpose-built hardware, basically it connects anything that needs that internet connection, out in the field. So talking a little bit about, the struggles of IoT connectivity. IoT is up and coming. It's been something that, technology that has been advancing over the past, I would say, 5 to 8 years, maybe a decade or so. And up until now, you look at it, there's a couple of different complexities to connecting these pieces of equipment to the internet. There's different methods of connectivity, right? Ours is cellular, and I'll get into the details of that. But you can connect to Wi-Fi, you can connect to a local area or a local network on site. And, that basically allows your thing to connect to that internet. Now, cellular is just now moving to basically becoming a very primary internet connection for these IoT devices. And as a matter of fact, it's actually becoming a primary internet connection across the board. You now see Verizon offering business internet plans that basically operate, your business internet over a cellular router. So you rip out the Comcast or whatever it is that you have, and you now can operate over the cellular network with that cellular device. So over the Verizon network. Up in the last few years, it's cellular IoT hasn't been utilized as much as other connectivity methods. And, really the reason for that is oftentimes simplicity. You think of taking an inverter, installing it onto a house. It's pretty easy just to connect it into the house's Wi-Fi and then push that data up to the cloud. Well, it's only easy until it's not, right? It's easy until somebody unplugs that Wi-Fi router or implements some firewall changes on the router. And now that data doesn't get up to the cloud and you're not able to monitor that equipment that you've installed and that you're getting paid to monitor. And so that causes a little bit of complexity in that, those methods are just not dependable. Unfortunately, they fall offline and you now have to engage in, figuring out how to get a Wi-Fi network back online or a local network back online. So that is, one thing I wanted to talk about is just the reliable uptime of IoT connectivity. You look at that, right? The lack of visibility or management of the equipment, the complicated remote troubleshooting, logging into a Wi-Fi network, connecting to a local network on site, and being able to actually triage that or troubleshoot that is a complicated ordeal. So, sorry, I lost my spot here. Now, with bear with me here. So oftentimes there isn't a good support infrastructure, like I had mentioned. You find a vendor for the hardware, you can get in a relationship with the carrier. We're talking about cellular IoT here. So if you get a cellular device, you buy the device, oftentimes what you have to do is you go to the carrier directly, you get a SIM card, you activate the SIM card, and then you have to deploy that on your own. And as you do that, it turns into an unscalable solution. Bear with me here, I've got to sneeze.
Bless you.
I'm sorry, guys. I had something tickle in there, and allergies lately have been kind of crazy. So getting back to it. So deploying a cellular device is not as easy as one might imagine, right? So what happens is, generally speaking, a customer will buy a piece of cellular hardware, and then they have to go to the carriers directly in order to get a SIM card and deploy that in the field. And what that often does is that takes an installer away from their core competency. It takes them away from what they're doing, and it quickly gets them engaged in managing a cellular portfolio that is just very complicated to do. So when they're doing that, they're deploying, and let's say you get, I don't know, 15, 20 locations in the field. Well, what happens if Verizon falls offline? Who calls you? And then when that happens, who do you call to get that taken care of and get it back online? And then how do you troubleshoot that? What's the steps that you have to take? It takes the installer away from their core competency and basically just jumps them or pushes them into, becoming a network support company. And that's where the challenge really comes from. That's why I think cellular IoT has not been fully adopted across all of these markets in a very scalable or easy way to do. And so that's what OptConnect does, is we provide a fully managed wireless connectivity solution that basically we take all the challenging pieces of the puzzle and we put it all together. And then we provide it to our customers through Supplied Energy or through our distributors. And so makes it very scalable, makes it cost effective, it makes it reliable as well. And I'll go into some of the reliability factors there. We have a dual carrier device, we monitor the connections, we do all sorts of stuff to make sure that it stays online. So, but what we do again is we provide that scalable solution for a wireless portfolio to grow and build so that you can grow your business and focus on your core competency. So right here on this slide, I like this slide. It shows a lot of the kind of pain points and things that people need to think about when they're deploying cellular or that connectivity solution. You have to source the hardware, You have to go to the carrier and get a data plan. You have to manage those data plans, manage the billing of those data plans. You negotiate contracts with the carriers. You manage inventory of SIM cards. You have to activate the lines with the carriers. You manage the data plans and the usage, all of that kind of stuff. And then, well, that's all fine and dandy. You get the hardware and the SIM cards, you install it, you deploy it. Well, you also have to, stage the devices. You have to load the devices with firmware. You have to maintain them. You have to keep the, the network routing tables all correct. It gets complicated. Then after that, you have to be able to bill for it. You have to, take care of yourself in terms of, if the carrier is billing you for overages, how do you protect yourself so that you have a deployable, scalable solution? And then again, like I had mentioned, if Verizon or one of the carriers falls offline, your customer is calling you directly, and then you have to handle that with the carriers. With the amount of lines that we have, I can tell you when we contact the carriers directly, we're not the low man on the totem pole. So we get in at a very high level, and we're able to actually engage and communicate with the carriers very quickly when there is an issue. And then last but not least, security. Connecting to Wi-Fi is pretty simple, right? But it's not the most secure route. Frankly, I'm a homeowner. I don't necessarily want equipment connecting to my Wi-Fi network, right? I don't want somebody accessing that Wi-Fi network remotely. That's just not a secure method of communication. So, taking the cellular device, we provide, well, let me backtrack here. We provide the hardware, the carriers, the operations, the financial, the support, and the security on the device. And all of that bundled together removes our customers from the equation of having to, engage with their customers and provide a cellular device through them, if that makes sense. So jump right into it. I'll start, I guess, discussing the hardware here real quick. This is our Neo 2 device. This is the device that we have built, purpose-built for industrial applications for the clean energy market. This is our Neo 2 Dura. It's about the size of a deck of cards. It's a very small piece of equipment, very easy to deploy. It doesn't have a big footprint whatsoever. And it comes fully kitted with all the equipment that you need. So when you get a Neo 2 Dura from Supplied Energy, you get a power supply, you get an antenna, you get the device, you get an Ethernet cable, and then you have active Verizon and AT&T SIM cards installed in the device, provisioned, activated, ready to go on a data plan. So literally all you do is just drop the device in place, you plug it into power, you plug your antennas in, and then you plug your Ethernet cable into your inverter or your data acquisition system, and it connects automatically to the internet. So it really can't get any more simple than that. I tell people all the time that if you can plug in a lamp, you can plug in our device and get internet connection. So very, very simple. Now, in terms of managed services that we include the monthly data plan. We have a 24/7 support center. We have a network operations center that monitors these devices. I'm going to go into this a little bit further here on the next slide, but 24/7 support center that monitors the connections. If they fall offline, my support center handles that for the customers. And then it also shields you. We're shielding you from that because our device will fail over to the secondary carrier. So we'll ship out a device. It operates on Verizon primary. If Verizon falls offline, within 60 seconds, the device will kick over to AT&T on its own and maintain a connection. We also provide a full lifetime warranty on the device. So you literally take it, you drop it in place, plug it in, it connects, and you don't have to worry about it ever again. It's all right there. In terms of support, we provide access, it's free access to our Summit dashboard. Summit is a dashboard that basically aggregates all the data from the device. The device will check into our servers, checks into our systems, and it provides signal analytics, approximate device location, data usage. You can even put in a device ID and description so you can monitor and manage the device from afar. It also provides you access to the IP addresses of the device. So these are private static IP addresses. They're not public facing. So If you needed to connect to the device itself, you would have the IPs so that you could actually do that directly. And I'd be happy to give a little demo here if we're running long. At the end of the webinar, I think I'll jump in and do that, give you a little demo on Summit. But it's a pretty awesome platform. And like I said, it's free to all of our customers, all of the users. If you have a device that is OptConnect branded, it's going to be checking into Summit, and you'll have 100% access to that. We also do real-time monitoring. So this screen right here that you see, my network operations center has this up. This is actually a batch of devices. You can kind of see here, there's 109,000 devices checking into this specific grouping. And you can see some pretty interesting metrics. So what we have here, I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but these little wavy lines here down kind of towards the center where you have an orange, red, and a blue one. These are the carriers' trends. It's their trend graphs. And so when you're looking at the red one, that's Verizon, for example, and this is 3 days of rolling totals, rolling averages. Our devices are oftentimes in locations that get powered down at night. And so what you see is the check-ins come up during the day, towards night, they start to gradually decrease and then go up during the day and kind of fall. And so we're able to trend that. And whenever there's any sort of an issue, our notification systems go off immediately. So you would actually see it on this trend graph. My monitoring team is watching this. You would see that graph drop, see a spike in it, and that would alert us. We would basically work with the carriers from there to fix the problem. So pretty interesting. We have a full team, full on staff, like they're all local. They're all sitting here about 20 yards from me right now, monitoring the devices 24/7, making sure that they're staying online. What's interesting about this is that oftentimes when there's an outage, we actually know about it before the carriers even know about it. So we're kind of like that canary in the coal mine, analogy there. Basically, our alert systems are so sensitive since we have so many devices checking in, and they're all checking into our servers on such a frequent basis that we have a lot of data feeding our systems all the time. And when we notice something, when it happens, I mean, we have alerts set up. When there's an outage in LaGuardia or Tampa somewhere, we automatically have that information. We have the serial numbers of the devices, we have the IP addresses, we have the approximate locations, and we're able to contact the carriers and say, hey, look, there's a problem here. Nice thing is our customers are not even impacted by that outage simply because the device, like I mentioned before, has already flapped over to the other carrier. So our customers are completely shielded by any sort of issues or outages. And frankly, they don't even notice, I would say 9 times out of 10, they don't even notice that there's any sort of a network interruption because the device is taking care of it automatically. So pretty cool piece of piece of our puzzle here, piece of our managed service. Really, this is where our bread and butter is. I mean, we pride ourselves in our monitoring abilities, in our ability to maintain the devices and ensure that they stay online. And then if they do fall offline, how do we take care of it, right? Our support engineers are the ones taking care of the problem with the carriers directly.
TJ, I had a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of a registration process for these devices to get installed, or if they're installed, is it immediately linked to this cloud and this management software?
Immediately linked, yeah. So when you sell the device, the second that it goes out into the field, I mean, it's active, the device is ready to go. You literally drop it in place and it starts communicating.
So you don't need to go online and say, like, are we turning this on or anything?
Nope.
Awesome. Cool.
So all of Supplied Energy stock is active and ready to go. It's all deployed, or it's all live. Yeah.
Great.
Good question.
Thank you.
Makes it very easy to deploy when a customer just simply places an order and you ship it from your fulfillment center, and it's they get it and immediately it's live and ready to use.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yep. So next slide here, guys. This shows again just how reliable we are. We've got about it's above 99% uptime across all of our devices. It's like 99.6, and I'm not making that number up. We actually pull this data. So there are times for some reason where both carriers fall offline every once in a while, but it's very, very minimal. we're able to maintain such a good uptime. It's very impressive to watch, very impressive to see. So again, just to recap, we handle 24/7 monitoring. We have secure private network IPs. Devices operate on both AT&T and Verizon simultaneously. Customers have full access to Summit at any time that they want. And then we have proactive issue identification, like I'd mentioned, the monitoring there, and then a single point of contact for all connectivity needs. Our NOC, or our Network Operations Center, right now, the SLA on it, if you were to call in, you're going to get a live person that actually understands what they're talking about. You're not calling across the world. You're getting somebody here in our office, and you're going to get them on the phone within 60 seconds. So very fast. We handle all of the operations and fulfillment. Like I said, all of the monitoring and support. And then we basically provide it all as a service bundled together to you. So, when you're going and installing, you don't have to worry about cobbling together your own solution. You basically take ours, drop it in place, makes it very simple. It also provides you the ability to scale your operation without having to, again, put together your own solution. Over here on the left, this slide, I like this slide a lot because it's complicated and it's kind of meant to be. On the left is kind of your setup without OptConnect. You have to, like I said, execute multi-carrier agreements. You have to go through hardware, procurement, all that kind of stuff, training, provisioning, all of that stuff, and then get it deployed. So you have your pre-deployment and your post-deployment support and management efforts here. We take all of that and just kind of wipe it out, and we provide you just everything all in one. So when you partner with OptConnect, we handle it all for you. A couple of, I'll just give you a couple of use cases here really quick. A couple of large logos that you might notice. Rainbird is a partner of OptConnect. They do irrigation control boxes. They deploy these all over the place. They're a very well-known name. You can see there, that's one of our legacy Milo devices that was plugged in. This particular installation was at the Utah State Capitol. They were struggling to get connectivity at the Capitol building. They're actually utilizing their own cellular module that was built into their hardware, and it was not working. So we're just down the street from them. We're able to drive up there, install our device, and it worked like a charm. Again, we operate in a lot of different markets. So this right here in the center is 365 retail markets. They do kiosks and micro markets all over the country. We connect all of their terminals. And then this one's an interesting one, a smart pin. It's actually a game that you would play on a golf course that video records when you get a hole in one. And so you can kind of play like a lottery with it. It's interesting, but those are all also connected with our devices. So there's just a lot of different applications that we connect, but going back to it, we specialize in every single one of these areas, including solar, including clean energy, connecting anything to that internet. So that's about it that I've got for the presentation, guys. Did we want to open it up, Harrison, for a Q&A?
Yeah, of course. We can take a few minutes to field any questions that may come in. But if we don't receive any, we can call it there. But anything you wanted to add, Travis?
Yeah, guys, I just wanted to point out how, besides the reliability, these things are simple. We've deployed 2 of them in the field already, and both installers called me and said, like, look, guys, like I plugged this thing in, it was immediately working, immediately went online, no commissioning, anything. It just works right out of the gate, which is awesome, TJ. We love that feature of it. We're offering a 1 year, a 5 year, a 10 year, and a 15-year data plan with these as well. So if someone would want to purchase that with their system, that obviously they could get the included in that in the purchase price, they could get their 30% off federal tax credit on these as well. So on their data plan. In a case that someone has SREC monitoring and actually needs 15 years, we can do that for them.
And Travis, do you mind fielding this question from Franklin Pace about pricing? He's asking if it's case-by-case basis.
Yeah, it is going to be case by case, basically depending on the contracts, what contract of data plan they decide to go with. Anybody could submit a request to support, and then we can Harrison, can you add our support email into the chat here?
Yeah, of course.
For a way for people to see it. And anyone feel free to reach out and we'll give you guys price breakdowns.
Of course. Yeah, so there's our support email, just support@suppliedenergy.com. Shoot us a note if you have any questions about OptConnect or if you need to get some pricing. We'd love to help you out. We'll give it just another minute here for questions, but we can give everyone some time back in their day. So thanks for being here. And any last minute things from TJ or Phil? You want to throw it in?
Do we want to make it optional for people to stick around to take a peek at the Summit dashboard real quick? Because that's pretty user friendly too.
Yeah. That'd be cool if we could go into that real fast.
Yeah, I'll run through that really quick. Thanks, Emily. I was actually thinking that I had mentioned that I might do that at the end of the slide. So yeah, let's take a look here really fast.
Yeah.
And if anyone does have to jump, we'll send out a recording of the webinar at the end too, so that you can go back through and take a peek in case you miss anything.
You guys able to see my dashboard here?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is Summit. This is just kind of a test account that we have set up within Summit. When you log in, you're going to land on this page right here. This shows a little pie graph of devices that are online. Okay, so again, this is just a demo account, but we've got 18 devices online. You can also see devices that are offline within 0 to 24 hours ago. So this allows you to monitor and, if you see something that falls offline, these would be like your red flags, like look at it and say, hey, these just dropped offline. I want to know why that happened. Oftentimes, someone just unplugs the device or something like that. You also have offline 1 to 7 days. So this means that the unit has not connected or checked into our servers within 1 to 7 days. And then again, you also have over here, a total offline of 7+ days, kind of high, but again, this is a demo account. So that's to be expected. Whenever I take devices to like a trade show, for example, they're all under this account. So, and those are sitting in my house, for example. But anyways, you can log in. You basically, if you want to click on the online devices, it'll take you to a deeper dive now where you can see all of your devices listed that are online. So right here, you can see, from a high level, you see a device ID, a serial number, network type, and your IP address. You can customize this to show the model, the description. You can have a location name in there, a terminal identifier. You can modify that however you'd like, so it shows those different categories or filters. You can also export this really easily. So if you wanted to do that, you could manage it in an Excel format. Scrolling down, I'll see if I can find just a good test device. This one right here is connecting a jukebox in our office. So we have a partner called TouchTunes that operates jukeboxes around the country. We got one of their terminals in our location in our office here. We plug in a device ID. This is editable. You can also plug in a description, which is editable. I think you can have over 500 characters on the description. Oftentimes what we see is in the device ID, we see maybe like a serial number of an inverter for a solar array, for example. And then the description is maybe the address or the location of where it's at. You have a model number, a serial number of the device. You can check the status. It says last time it checked in, it shows the exact timestamp there. And then you can even see the private static IP addresses here. So what we have here, this is, we internally network route our IP addresses. And so what we have here, you have this top active IP address is going to be a Verizon IP address, and then the secondary IP address is going to be AT&T. Again, all of our devices have primary Verizon connection with AT&T failover. However, if you take a device to a location and AT&T is the prominent carrier in the location, we can swap that over and make it the inverse to where AT&T is primary. You can also group devices and put them in sub-organizations. So if you have your own customers that have customers that have customers, you can actually create groups and provide those customers the ability to view their devices and only their devices. So it gives you a way of, sub-organizing your portfolio here. You can see the approximate location of the devices. This by no means is it GPS, but it is, it's basically just pulled off of the tower that the device is checking into. It gives you an approximate location here, or an accuracy range of 1.4 miles. So again, we're located in Kaysville, Utah. If I scroll out, you'll be able to see that we're about 20 miles north of Salt Lake City. Down here, you can also see check-ins. These are full health checks. Our devices check into Summit every 30 minutes, and they provide all this analytics that I'm showing you here. So right here, you can see 6:49 a.m. on Monday, May 15th, 7:19 on the dot. It goes through and does a check-in. It does a daily signal report as well. This is when it actually pulls a lot of the signal information that I'm going to show you here in a second. And it provides that. But you can see this device is working, perfectly here. Now, what's interesting is when you see an anomaly. So for example, right here, between these two dots, you're missing a check-in. That indicates that either the device was unplugged and it wasn't able to communicate, or, it missed a check-in because both carriers fell offline for whatever reason. So again, this is the type of thing that we're looking for, and that we're monitoring. And when it happens, in broad, I would say, that's when our alert systems really go off and we're able to take care of them. You have usage history in megabytes. So right here, it shows May 8th, it used 21 megs, 73. You can change this to gigabytes as well. We have really high data plans for data intensive applications. We have signal strength right here as well. You can see average, minimum and maximum signal strength. So signal is a frequency, so it's always going to be going up and down. And what we do is we just trend that to showcase that here in Summit. Have some on-demand info. This is pretty interesting because if you take a device to a location and let's say it doesn't have good cell service in the back room of a site, you can push refresh on-demand info, and that basically will pull the accurate signal strength right at that very given time. So if you need to move the device to a better location within the site, you can do that, and you can verify signal strength instantaneously. And then this just shows your carrier sessions over the past 10 days. This carrier session is basically just how long it's been connected to the carrier without doing any type of flapping or switching between the two.
Hey, TJ, we got a couple questions in here since you've been sharing. Do you mind fielding these real quick? So I'll just start from the top. Franklin asked, can you use the device for connectivity only and not monitoring? An example being using a Solarc inverter monitoring that connects to the cloud via the Neo 2 Dura. Does that question make sense to you?
Can you use the device for connectivity and not monitoring? Yeah, you certainly can. Yeah, you don't need to monitor the device. You don't need to do anything really with it or monitor your equipment through the device. It can merely just provide that conduit to the, to the internet for anything out there. So yeah, great question.
And Mark asked if you can go over the device details, asking about, what's the power supply like, how many Cat5 ports, 2.4 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Just to ask some details on that.
Yeah, great question. So the device itself does not have Wi-Fi. It operates over the cellular network, so it doesn't have Wi-Fi built into it. So it's only connecting over Verizon and AT&T networks. Doesn't provide any type of Wi-Fi signal. The device operates on a 5-volt DC power supply that we provide. The power supply is just your standard 120-volt plug. It inverts it or converts it down to 5 volts DC. We can also provide for data acquisition systems or control boxes that have DC voltage in them. We also have I think it's an 8 to 40 volt DC step down to 5 volt DC barrel style connector for the device. So we can provide that as well. The unit itself has 2 Ethernet ports on it, but it is a full router. It has full router functionality built into it. So if you wanted to plug a switch into it with multiple ports on it, you could do that. But right now, what we have it set up for is you can connect 2 pieces of hardware directly into it, and it'll provide IPs for those devices and communicate out over the internet. Hopefully that answered your question there, Mark.
Yeah, but I think going back to the first question about connectivity only versus monitoring, Franklin is asking if you can monitor the platform other than with the Summit dashboard.
Oh, great question. Yeah. Okay. Yes, it does. We have APIs basically that you can integrate with all the different platforms that are out there. So we do have a lot of companies that do that. They basically just aggregate this data or pull it, what they need from it, and then they push it up into their dashboard. So.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. This question is from Brandon Smith. When using this product for solar projects, will this help the connection between the ECU and microinverter? I believe that's the AP Systems ECU, or is that more of a signal issue?
The connection between the ECU and the microinverter, I would imagine those are connected via hardline, correct? Can you confirm that, Harrison?
I can jump in on that one, TJ. No, this wouldn't increase that signal issue at all. This would solely be to get the ECU fired up and communicating online. If there's a problem between the ECU and the microinverters communicating, it's probably more of a case of how close they are, or if you're shooting through a metal insulated roof, it would normally be something like that.
Does that answer your question, Brandon? There's something in the chat. I think that probably answers that question. Thanks, Travis.
Yep. And then TJ also, I wanted to point out, these things are about the size of a small cell phone. So they can pretty well be mounted anywhere. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we can put these, as long as they're in a weatherproof enclosure, we're okay with exterior temperatures. Is that correct? So they can be mounted outside?
Yeah, they can be mounted outside. So the antenna itself is IP67 rated. The device itself is IP64 rated. We do have these in some very, very, difficult environments in terms of temperature rating. So it's the temperature rating on is -40°C to +85°C. Quite literally, we have these going in temperature chambers just for testing, to make sure that they're strong enough to handle, what we throw at them. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. But the device, again, the antenna is IP67 rated. What I would recommend is if you have a control box, you put the device inside the control box, route the antenna to the outside. We have a bolt mount antenna or a magnetic mount antenna. So it just sits right up on top of there. And, we rarely have issues with any sort of weather related, problems with the devices. So I have a device right now. I can tell you, ironically, we have a device that's up in Alaska that is used to monitor a generator that is powering a cellular tower. So it's ironic because, full circle there, but the device is literally sitting outside up in the middle of this very, very remote location. And I know it gets very, very cold up there, and the device has been working perfectly fine. So.
Awesome. Yeah, great. You answered Mark's question there. So that was perfect.
Yeah. Perfect. And then again, yeah, the device is, it's about the size of a deck of cards. Actual size is 2.7 inches by 2.2 inches. And it's about 1/2 inch thick. So very, very small device. But it is very powerful. Again, it has full router functionality. So if you are connecting, I don't want to get too into the weeds on the network routing tables and stuff, but if you are connecting, let's say 10 pieces of equipment, and you have static IP addresses communicating to each of those pieces of equipment, we manage that configuration and profile build out for you. So we would basically write that network translation, plug that into the device, and then we would manage that across all of your portfolio So if you had 1,000 installations and they are all the same installation type, meaning they all have the same hardware connected to them, that profile will, it'll be loaded to the device automatically before you get it in your hands, and you get it, plug it in, and it'll configure to your network routing rules that you have. So, any other questions, guys?
Well, that was great. Thanks so much for the walkthrough of the Summit platform and answering those questions as they popped up.
Yeah,
We appreciate that.
no sweat. Sorry for the allergies here. I got a little disjointed there at the beginning of the call, but thanks for your time, guys. I really appreciate it.
No worries, man. Yeah, the spring is finally sprung here in Utah.
Yeah, it has. Yep, for sure. So,
All right. Well, with that, we can let everyone go. Emily, did you have something you want to throw in? You just popped up.
Nope, just saying goodbye.
All right. Awesome. Well, great. Thanks everyone for being here. Have a great rest of the day.
thanks, guys.
See you. Thank
See you
you.
guys. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.